So guys, actually today we try to target to giving the brief about OOPS, but before that, I have some topics left in functional programming. So let me quickly revise you like where we were exactly. So guys, first of all, we started non-functional programming, and then we divided the code into functional programming, and we have come to know the advantage of the functional programming. And then after that, guys, I have shown you the use of global keyword and the difference between local and global variables. And then we started, the function preparation ways, like how many ways we can prepare the functions. And then, guys, we have discussed, the variable length arguments and the default parameters. Maybe remember default parameters and variable length arguments, keyword as argument. And yeah, one more thing also, guys, we discussed that is what arbitrary parameter. So by preparing a single function, we can pass a number of arguments. And then, yeah, I have given you the lambda functions also, like anonymous function. That is what the last session, guys, that we were discussed. Now, before going to the today coding part, let me create a folder. Just I'm creating a folder directory. There's a lot of differences there, guys, the Python package and directory. Anyhow, today I'll try to cover this also at the end. So I'm creating a one folder. So let me make this is folder name is something, the class 3. Let's create a one Python file. The file name, let's take, guys, app1. I have taken a file name is app1. Yeah. So there are a couple of things I'll discuss you today. First, guys, you can say I'm preparing a one function. The function name is 1, and there just I'm printing, welcome. Welcome to, like, Antwork. Have written, guys, welcome to Antwork. Now, guys, here I'm calling the function. Observe this. Here I'm calling the function. So when you call the function, the called function gets executed. You can see. Yeah, guys, you can see the output. Welcome to Antwork that you can see. But next line, I am printing the function name. I'm printing the function name. Guys, remember one thing, when you print the function name, you know what it returns? It returns the address. It returns, guys, address of the one function. It return the address of one function. You can have a look now. You can have a look now. Yeah, guys, the first output you can see, welcome to Antwork. It's printing as expected. And the next one you can see, guys, it's printing the address, like where this function gets memory allocated. So that memory allocation you can see in hexadecimal format that you can able to see. In hexadecimal format that you can able to see, right? Now, next line, what I'm doing, I am taking a one more variable, the variable name something, 2. Okay, for the 2, I'm assigning, guys, the 1. And just now I have shown you, guys, 1 means if you print the any function name, it return the address. So simply what you are doing now, you're passing this address of the function 1, 2 and the 2 function, guys. Okay, now you can also check, guys, now the 2 function. Now here I was trying to printing the 2 function address, you can see. Yeah, now I'm printing the 2. Now, guys, have a look. You can see the same output. Have a look. You have a same output. Now, guys, you may call like this also. You may call like this also. Now, can see, guys, now this is also going to be get that output. Actually, I want to conclude the topic here is aliasing the functions. Aliasing the functions. Guys, aliasing means general behavior, general. Aliasing means giving another name. Giving another name. Right? So this is my original function name, but I have given a duplicate name for this one. And in this case, guys, both original function gets work and as well as the duplicate functions also gets work. Both can be work. I hope this is also clear to you all. Aliasing the function. Guys, confirm? Okay, right, good. Okay, so there is a one more topic I'll go with, guys. Maybe I can take the previous program references and I can explain in a better way. Maybe it's not there, so let me create a new file. Okay, so the first topic that I discussed, you guys, now aliasing the function, aliasing the function. So guys, this is what how to do the aliasing. The next topic, guys, the topic is inner functions. You can call them inner functions, or guys, you can say nested functions. Inner function, or guys, we can say the nested function. Maybe you understand the term what is my nested function, nothing but here preparing a one function inside another function. Preparing one function inside another function, we call it as generally, guys, the nested functions. Let me take you one behavior, like where we use it. So I am preparing a one function, that function will take, guys, three subject marks. And guys, you know what it will do? It will return, it's a sum. It's a sum. Now, guys, another function I'm taking, that function will calculating the average of three subject marks, average of three subject marks. So generally, guys, directly can call this function to do the total here like this. So we can call, guys, like this, average is equal to avg is equal to, you can call the total function, and you can pass s1 comma s2 comma s3, and by 3 you can write it, and finally, guys, you can print this average. This is average. Now, finally, guys, let me call average function by passing the three subject marks. One is 100. Next, guys, 200. And let me pass one more 100. Nothing but 400 by 3. So as expected, definitely we get one output. You can see, guys, that is average of three numbers, like 133 point, that like that you are printing. See, these are now, this is average function is using the total function. Average function is using the another function. The function name is total. Observe the scenario. If we are writing one function which is not used by any other functions, like outside of this file, outside of the file also we can access this function. Okay, but if this we are preparing this function because this function used by another function, the function the function name is average. In that case, what you can write, instead of writing this separate function like this, okay, then guys, we can write this is as an inner function like this. You can see, guys, this is actually the topic inner function. So the first function I prepare average of s1 s2 s3, and then, guys, internally I'm preparing one more function. The function name is total. So guys, in what I'm doing in the total, I'm calculating the like s1 plus s2 plus s3. Okay, and after completion of this one, after completion of this one, see, I'm taking one extra variable. The variable name something, average, and is equal to, I'm calling the total function, and I'm by doing the 3. And guys, in that case also, you're gonna be get the same output. You can see it. Guys, you can see. Maybe this will be a tough for you to understand in the coding part. Maybe I can explain you in the paint in a better way. Give me a moment. Just guys, please wait. I'll be back. Hey guys, while you are listening the session, please don't draw anything on your mobile. Maybe you can see something like marker. Please don't use it. Few people have already written, so please try to ignore these kind of things, and make sure that your video, for one of your video is on. So please, guys, double check the video is on or not. Okay, guys, you got my points? Hello, can anyone confirm in the chat? don't draw anything on your mobile screens if you are attending the session through mobile. Already have someone has written. Okay, thank you. Guys, let me get into the topic here. So the topic is what inner function or a nested function. So the concept is, guys, preparing a function inside another function. We call it as an nested inner functions. Just give me a moment. So observe the scenario. This is the outer function, and inside the outer function, guys, here you return a one inner function. The function name is total. The inner function name is what? A total. You know, guys, what you're doing when you pass average of 100 and 200 and 300, first of all, that values, this 100 and 200, 300, 100 and 200 and 100, they'll pass to S1, S2 and S3, you can see. Then after that, one inner function gets loaded. That function name is def space total. And what it is doing, it will taking these parameters and returning their sum. After completion of this one, I am closing this inner function and I'm writing the piece of code. It is in outer function, guys. You can see the variable I have taken average is equal to, I am calling now this is, you can see, I am calling here, guys, I am calling the inner function. You can see here I am calling the inner function. Have a look, guys, have a look here. I am calling the inner function. So whenever inner function will call, it return the S1 plus S2 plus S3. And guys, I'm doing the logic like division by 3. And you can see, guys, the print average. So guys, I hope this is clear to you all, the inner function. Guys, confirm in the chat. Yeah, guys, I'll highlight you the 2 points here. One is, when we go with inner function here is, suppose this total function is used by like an average function and not by any other function, because the total function scope is within a function only, average. We can't access the total outside. See, it will make modularity. This code inner function will make the code modularity, but this is accessed by only the average function, not any other function. That is a situation that when we go with the total function, guys. Okay, I hope this is clear to you all, the inner function scope. See, inner function, nested function, just they are synonyms, guys, the words. Okay, just it's a synonym. Okay, that you have to keep it in mind. A inner function or nested function, both are just synonyms. I hope this is also clear to you all, the nested function. Guys, let me move to the another topic. Let's take this is app 3. You know, I'm preparing one function. The function name is something, you know, work1. I'm preparing a one function. The function name is work1. That I'm passing, guys, the 4 parameters. You can see a comma b comma, let's take comma c comma d. There are 4 parameters are there. There are 4 parameters are there, and there, you know, guys, I am what I'm doing now. Yeah, let's calculate the total of these 4 numbers, a plus b plus c plus d, and then
hello? Yeah, Ranjit, what is your question?
Hello, sir. So I was just asking that in the inner function you have written return statement in both of the functions. So will this return statement of the inner function will not return the control outside?
So you're asking that this is inner function, yeah, and returning some logic, okay?
Yeah.
And this return value is used by the average function only.
Yeah, so that's what I'm asking, that what this return statement will do.
See, this return statement will returning the S1 plus S2 plus S3.
Yeah.
And-
So when
And
this,
here, let's take 100 and 200 and 100 is there, no? That
Mhm.
value will be written. That is what 400. Now here we'll get 400. Okay.
but it is, but the control is it is returning, like it is the return statement. So it will return the control outside else. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I didn't get you. So please, can you repeat the question?
No, I'm saying that you have written this return statement.
Okay.
So will this return statement move the control outside where the average function has called, or the control will continue in the average function itself?
See, I didn't get your question still, but you know, if we write one more function, let's take one more inner function. The function name is something, say hi, and it returns. Just take an return. Let's take it returning something like this hi. So this is one more inner function I have written, and this inner function scope is inside the average only. That is the point one. And the next point two is when you are returning this hi, okay, this hi is returning, no, that can be used by only this function average. Okay, now you got it.
Yeah, can you run this method once again?
I didn't get it.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
So can you run this function once again, average function?
Okay, this say hi function you want to run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. See, now here I am calling, and see, the scope is very, very important. Return means the last line of code you have to write every time. Here also the written last line of the code. And you know what I'm doing here? Before like printing this average, I'm calling the say hi function. Now tell me, will it return or it will print?
It will just return.
It will return. Now I'm calling that function inside a print function. I'm calling the say hi function inside the print function. Now whatever will be written, that will be printed. So before you printing the average, now hi will be printed. You can check it. You can see. Still your doubt is there, or are you clear?
No, it's clear.
Right. Okay then. So guys, the next topic you see, I have prepared one function. The function name is work with the 4 parameters. So I'm calculating the total and I'm printing this result. Now here I'm calling the work function. Before, yeah, see, yeah, here I'm passing the values, like 1, 2, 3, 4 values I'm passing. So as expected, the addition you will get it. First, let me run. Yeah, you can see 10 will be the output. So guys, here you are calling the function by passing the values. Calling the function by passing the values like 1, 2, 3, 4. But in Python, you can pass a function as argument also. A function as argument. Actually, the topic is function as argument. I'll tell you how it is. Let me prepare one more function. The function name is say hi. Okay, and it will returning guys a string, that is what hi. And there's a one more function I prepared. The function name is say by. Okay, and guys here it's returning guys the by. Okay, there's a two function I prepared. One is a returning hi, another function is what by. Seems to be I'm getting error. Maybe I did a indentation. Maybe kind of indentation. Just guys, wait a moment. Yeah. So I prepared the first function say hi, returning hi. Next, one more function I prepared. The function name is say by and returning the by. Now one more function I prepared. The function name is work. It has the 4 arguments. Now this time along with the 4 arguments, I'm passing 2 more parameters also. Observe carefully. I'm passing the 2 more parameters. The parameter name is, let's take P1, A comma B comma C comma D, and comma P2 I have passed. P2 have passed. Now you know what I'm doing here. Before I'm printing the result, I'm calling the P1 function here. And after this one also, guys, I'm calling the P2 function. Actually, they are the P1, P2 are the function. Now observe carefully in the calling function, definitely we have to pass the 6 arguments. In a calling function, we have to pass the 6 arguments. You know, first argument I'm passing as say hi function. And the second, third, fourth argument as usual. And the last argument I am passing, you know, the say by function I am passing. See, this is a calling function and this is a called function. Now, you know, say hi is nothing but a function name and it has some address. The previous program I have shown you. That address, you know, we are passing to the P1. Here you can see say hi address is given to the P1. Now the same thing say by address is given to the P2. Right? And now here we are calling, guys, the P1 function now. When you're calling the P1 function, I told you it has the address of say hi. So it returning hi. It returning hi. Now, you know what I'm doing? I am printing that, guys. I'm printing the function which I'm calling here. I'm printing here, you can see print of P1 of I. And here also, guys, I'm printing P2 of function. Now, you know, the output of this code, first result will be calculated. Then guys, you are printing the P1 function, whatever it is returning. So hi will be printed. Then after that, the result will be printed, that addition. Then finally, guys, the say by function will be called internally because the P2 is referring to the say by function only. So let's run and guys, check this output once. You can see, guys. So this is actually the topic is what? Function as argument. See, work is a one function. It is taking the argument as another function. The function name is say hi. Guys, is it clear? Is it clear? Yes. Done. Okay then. I'm moving to one more content here. Let's take R4. Doubt? Yeah, Aish, just tell me what's your doubt.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
So my question is, when you call the function work, one of the arguments that you put in was say hi.
Yes.
Can you show us the difference between writing just say hi and writing say hi parentheses? So what is the difference between passing a function and passing the function name? Like, do you understand the difference?
Yeah. See, you're asking that like this parenthesis, right?
Yes. What happens now?
Yeah. See, that I explained in the first program itself. Wait a minute, I'll show you. See, here you are calling the function. Here you are calling the function. So control goes to call the function and it will return or it will print whatever the work it is done. But here, you know, you are printing the one. One is nothing but it address. If you use parenthesis, it is calling that function. Without parenthesis, it returning the address. Got it? With parenthesis, it will call the function. Without parenthesis, it will return the address. That is the difference. Got it, Ayush? Hello? Can I be unmuted? Yeah. Yeah, do you have the still query, Ayush? If you want to talk, then definitely they will unmute you. Oh, still you have a query. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so my only doubt left is, so even if inside a print function, even if we say one parentheses, it means we are calling one function inside the print function.
Correct.
So anywhere in the function, if you write one parentheses, it will call the function.
Yes, now it is calling the function. And now it is calling the function, okay?
But this will give an error because inside
definitely it will give the error. You know why? The one function already printing something. Okay, and again the print function, again you are doing this thing.
But
Okay.
then one parentheses will what one parentheses will print is welcome to Antwerp, which is inside another print. So it should just print welcome to Antwerp again.
Okay. See, one thing I'll tell you, a function, if it is written something, if a function will return something, then we can call that function and we can print it. If the function is already printing, what is the meaning that like again we are printing this one? You got my point?
So it will print welcome to Antwerp, right? If you run this.
So you are asking that if you print this one, like again you will get that warning. Is that like, see what you are doing here? Please, can you check it here?
Yeah, I don't understand why there is a none. Why are there 5 outcomes? Okay, one is welcome to.
See, when you're calling the first time the one, okay, it will printing this one, correct?
Okay.
And then in the 6th line, you are calling this function again, right? So again, it will print a welcome to and walk, correct?
Yes.
And then again, you are calling this function with the print. So it's a meaningless. That's what it's returning the none.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I got it now. Okay.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So guys, just focus on the content like inner function. Just now I was discussed here, the inner functions. Just wait a moment. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Just a series code. Have written something. The function is total of items. It has a one total function and written something. And here I have written total of items. So definitely return some value. And you know that value I'm storing into a result variable. And finally I'm printing it is. So guys, it's again the continuation of your inner function. So just have a look. Just have a look. A moment. See, the first of all, the scope of the block getting confused for you always in the Python. That's a common factor. So you have to be very careful, guys. The scope, when you are writing the code inside the function and when you are writing code outside the function, these are the things you have to focus carefully. Okay, because like other programming, we don't have any curly braces to open a function and to close. So you have to be very careful, and that is only one factor, guys. You'll get the confusion. See, there's a one outer function. The function name is total item. And there's a one inner function. I have written the function name is total. Okay, this is an inner function. I think you are seeing clearly. Now guys, this return statement, I'm making the same color, orange color. Please focus. You are returning some logic. You are returning some logic with the inner function. But you know guys, this is a return statement for outer function, guys. Please focus. You are returning this statement for the outer function, you can see. So what you are returning? You are returning a total. Now tell me guys, total is a function or a value? I need in the chat this answer. This total is a function or a value? I need this is answer in the chat. Yes, function. It's not a value. Wait. It's not a value. It's a function, right? So actually the topic is a function as a return statement. A function as a return statement. So the outer function is returning the inner function, guys. Now inner function, what is returning? It's returning the total of S1 plus S2 plus S3. So this, when you call this total of items, guys, you can observe when you call this total of items of 100 and 200 and 100, this 100 and 200 and 100 is assigned to this S1, S2, S3. And inner function is, guys, returning S1 plus S2 plus S3 value. That is what 400. Now outer function also returning as the total, nothing but that 400 returning. That 400 will be stored into the result, and that final value that I am printing, guys, you can see that 400 will be the output of this code. So let's run and check this output, guys, once. Just wait a moment. I got it. Yeah. Earlier, like one of your friend will asking the same query. So guys, you can see with parenthesis and without parenthesis. So guys, in earlier case, you know what I did? I called that function without parenthesis, nothing but return the address. We already spoken. Just now we have a discussion. Now guys, you are returning a function here, not address. You are returning a function address. So actually the topic is a function can be used as a return, can be used as a return value. See, now the outer function returning a function, guys. I'll tell you guys why I have taken these 4 concepts and where we use this combination. I'll tell you, you have to be wait. But the topic is the previous topic, guys. You can see we are passing a function as argument. And the now topic is, guys, a function that we are returning to another function. We are returning a function to another function, you can see. I hope this is clear to you all. Confirm in the chat. Guys, confirm in the chat. I'll tell you where we use this, all the things in a single shot. I'll tell you. Right. Okay. No, actually, guys, they're all the topics are used in a very, 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 very important topic called decorators. So decorators are the topic which will be used in real time. Continuously we'll use in most of the coding, guys, decorators. So to understand what a decorator, first of all, you have to know what is aliasing the function. What is aliasing the function? And the second topic, guys, you have to know what is inner functions. And the third topic that you have to know, guys, how to pass a function as argument. And the fourth topic is, guys, how to return a function. How to return a function to another function. If you know these 4 topics, guys, the decorators are very simple. Decorators are very simple. Actually, I'll go with what is general meaning of a decoration. Decorators. If you go to the functional, guys, just observe. If you go to the functional, that there itself we do the decoration. So observe that the stage is already they created. The stage dash. Okay, the stage is already created, and the decorator people will come and take their like flowers. There can be natural flowers, or it can be like, you know, the artificial flowers, and then they do the decoration, guys. Then they can do the decoration. Observe here, the stage will never change. Stage will never change. And on the top, guys, we can add any kind of decorations. We can add any kind of decoration. It means you are not touching the existing stage. Just on the top, like we are adding some new functionality to the stage only. Like it can be through natural flower, or it can be through, guys, artificial flowers. I'll go with the same example, and I'll tell you the real-time scenario also where we use the decorators. Where we use the decorators. So give me a moment. Give me a moment. In the app 5, guys, I'm preparing one function. The function name is total of items. You know what it's returning, guys? It's clearly returning guys, clearly observe it returning s1 plus s2 plus s3, or better you can take I1, item 1, item 2, guys, item 3. Let's do the sum also in the same way. I1 plus I2 plus, guys, I3. Now, guys, on the bottom, if you see clearly, on the bottom, if you see clearly, we are calling the total of item functions and passing the values 100 and 200, and guys, that will be stored into a result, and that result you are seeing this one. I think this is clear to you all. Let me go with the scenario. A Zomato application. Just take the scenario. Zomato application. Suppose if a person will make a 3 items order like this, okay, and just let me take it as this is, guys, something, you know, 700. Now, you know, this guy made the 3 items in the order. Now you will get a sum is 1,000 rupees. But you know, in Zomato, guys, sometimes the what do you call it as that they won't make the, sometimes they won't make the delivery charges, and sometimes they will make, they will add. And sometimes guys, they will suppose if your order is like a huge, then definitely they have to add one more like cost also, that is what for packaging also guys, for packaging definitely for that also they add some extra amount for that one also. I know sometimes if it is a weekend, definitely they will give some offers also. It means the total of item function is there, no, for this function only. Okay, that extra that I have given you the 4 scenarios, right? That 4 scenarios may be apply or may not be applied. And but you're not supposed to touch the existing function behavior. You're not supposed to touch the existing function behavior, but on the top you have to add some few things. Just now I have shown you. I mean, just now we discussed. Guys, are you clear? The first of all, the scenario. I'll tell you how to add them, but are you clear the scenario? Confirm in the chat, please. Guys, are you clear the scenario? Hello? Yeah, right. That is what actually where the decorators came into the picture. What decorator will do is, decorators will not touch the existing function behavior, but on the top, if you want to add any functionalities on based on the exist function result, then we can go with the decorators. So guys, let me take you a few scenarios. Let me take you the few scenarios. The one is, guys, let me take the scenario that is what delivery charges will be there. Delivery charges. This is a one decorator, delivery charges. And guys, the GST is there, no? That is also one kind of behavior. One kind of earlier, like, you know, we don't have the GST, but now they added the GST bills also for everything. Delivery charges, GST, and you know, packaging charges, and you know, the offers. So how to add them all? How to add them all without touching the existing code? How do we add this one, guys? One I'll show you. Remaining maybe you can practice. One I'll show you. But observe, guys, like how I am writing the code, you have to focus. Okay, first one I'll show you guys the delivery charges. Let's take, guys, I want to add the delivery charges of 50 rupees. So I'm writing one function. The function name is, guys, delivery charges. Okay, yeah, delivery charges. I'm preparing this function. Guys, remember one thing now. This delivery charges is a function. Now, actually, you know what you have to do. Delivery charges is a function. It has to take one dummy function as an argument, and you have to prepare one inner function. Observe carefully. I'll explain you again. This is how internally will work. You have to prepare one inner function. The function name is, yeah, let me take the function name itself like this, inner function. I'm taking the function name is, guys, let's like this. Let's take the function name is inner function. So what this inner function will do is, the original function having how many parameters, that many parameters you have to take. Like I'm taking as p comma q comma r, I have taken p comma q comma r I have taken. Now guys, here you call the dummy function, and by passing the arguments, you know, p comma, let's take q comma r. Okay, for this one, guys, you can add the delivery charges. So I'm adding the delivery charges is 50. Now you can store into the result. And guys, this is a return statement of the inner function. And one more return statement I'm writing, guys, that is for outer function. So for outer function, guys, it's returning the, guys, inner function like this. Inner function like this. Now, guys, this is how to prepare a decorator function. Don't worry, don't panic. Again, I will explain you. Don't panic. The step by step, I'll explain you how this code will work and everything. Now, you know, guys, you prepare a decorator. Now, if you want to apply this decorator to this function, then you have to use a symbol called @ and guys, you have to write like this. And without this decorator, this function behavior, one extra behavior is added. That is what 50 rupees extra charge will be there. You can see, guys, let's run and check this output once. Just to wait a moment. Actually, here you're not supposed to give any arguments. I'll tell you. Yeah, guys, you can see the output is 1050. You are passing the items, guys, 100, 200, and 700. That is what 1000. For the 1000, guys, you can see 50 rupees will be added. How it is added? Because you added the decorator. Now remove the decorator. Remove the decorator and see the output, guys. It's 1000. And if you add the decorator, guys, then it will be reflected to 50 rupees. You can check it. Now I'll tell you guys how this code will work. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. I'll tell you how to write it. First, guys, you can write a one function, and what kind of function that you want to write, that function name you can write. And this function will take the argument as another function. This function will take the argument as another. This is the dummy is a one function. Dummy is a function. I'll tell you guys how it will work. Dummy is a one function. Now inside it, guys, I have written inner function. This inner function you have to take as it is, guys. How the original function is there. How the original function is there, same as it is. You have to take it. You can see same arguments list. Just the name I have written, another name, but you can see, guys, I have given the 3 arguments. Now internally, guys, inside the inner function, I'm calling the dummy function. Guys, this dummy is nothing but total of items now. This dummy is nothing but total of items now. Now the total of items, guys, you are calling P comma Q comma R. For this one, like you are giving guys 50 rupees extra and you're storing into the result. Now, guys, when you call this inner function, what the inner function is returning, tell me. Inner function, it returning the result. Result is nothing but here you are getting 1000 plus 50, guys, that is 150, and then 150 1050 will be written, and this is inner function scope. This is inner function scope. Now we can see, guys, outer function, what is returning? Outer function is returning the inner function. Outer function, guys, returning the inner function. Now inner function, guys, is returning, guys, 1050, that 1050 that you are seeing in the output. Anyhow, I'll try to write one more function. I'll try to write one more function. Maybe you can get the clarity. Maybe you can get the clarity. Maybe I can go with the packaging charges, something, let's check 20 rupees packaging charges. I'll try to write it. Guys, please focus now how I am writing. And guys, we can use more than one decorator at a time also. We can use more than one decorator at a time also. I'll show you that one also, you can see. So I am preparing def space. The decorator name, guys, I have taken as, package charges, packing charges. The rule one is, I'll repeating the rule. You can take any argument. That argument is a one function, guys. This is what your function as an argument here. So let's take the function name something, dummy. Okay. And guys, you have to prepare one inner function like this. An inner function as it is, you have to write how it will be look like for your original function. As it is, you have to write it. So let me write, guys, inner of a comma b comma c, a comma b comma c, and guys, the packing charges, let me add 20 rupees. So here you have to call the dummy function by passing this argument a comma b comma c, and then plus, guys, you have to add the 20 rupees, and then you can store into a result. And now inner function is returning the current result. Now, guys, the outer function is returning the inner function. You can see inner function that you are returning. Now, here you can add the decorator. Now at the rate, you can write, guys, the packing charges. Now, the output will be, if you not use these 2 decorators, guys, the 1000 will be the output. Let me show you. This is, yeah, guys, 1000. Now let's add the decorators. Now, guys, run the code and check it. Guys, you can see 1050, 1070. The packing charges will be added. Guys, without practicing, you can't remember them. You can try this one, like a GST, like a 19%, like 9 plus 9, 18% is there. No, that you can try it. That logic, guys, you have to write it here. In this place, you have to write it. The discount. Giving the GST. Okay, that you may try it. So I hope this is also clear to all the decorators. Guys, confirm in the chat. Are you clear? The decorators. Done. Practice it, otherwise you can't get it. The rules I have given you. So I told you guys today I have started the session to understand this, what is decorators, because I have taken a couple of examples before this concept. If you are aware with that 4 concept, then this 5th concept is easy to you to understand what is decorators. So guys, this is end of your functions. This is end of your functional programming. Now, guys, I'm moving to the object-oriented programming. But before I'm moving to the object-oriented programming, I'll show you something you can see apart from the functional programming. Apart from the functional programming, guys, I'm creating a one Python file. Please focus, guys. I'm creating a one Python file. The file name is Chanty. Carefully observe. This is a very base concept, like why object-oriented programming came into the picture. So, guys, I'm creating a one file. The file name is chanty.py. Okay, it's a Python file. It's a Python file. And guys, there I have taken a comma b comma c or a comma b comma are the variables, and I'm assigning something 10 and 20. And guys, I'm preparing a one function. The function name is sum. The function name is sum. And here I'm printing, guys, this a plus b value. Okay. Or else, guys, let me take some parameters like n1 comma n2. And through parameters, let me do n1 plus n2. And there's a one more, the function I'm preparing, the function name is subtraction. So it will taking the two parameters n1 plus n2. And guys, it will doing something, n1 minus n2. So in this chanty.py file, I have a two data. Guys, we call it as them as data. Two data. And guys, I have a two functions here. Okay. Two functions and two data will be there. This is chanty.py. Now I'm creating one more Python file. One more Python file. The file name is something, I'm writing Yahoo. Guys, another Python file I have taken Yahoo. Now the question is, can I use this chanty.py file data functions into another file? Yes, we can. We can. Now this is a topic, actually we call it as modules. A topic called, guys, Python module. A Python file is always called as a module. This is the point one that you have to remember. A Python file always we have to call it as a module. A module also can be used by another module. Okay, this is a one more module by using a concept called importing. Okay, by using a concept called importing. Now, guys, what you can do? You can use a keyword called import, and you can write, guys, chanty. Now, the meaning of this one is the Yahoo is a one Python module. Okay, and this is using the chanty module. It means we can use all the members here. Now we can use all the members. You can see I'm printing. Yes, you can see I'm printing chanty dot a variable. Chanty is in one Python file. You can see in that I'm using a variable, a variable, and you can also the b variable value. And also, guys, you can call chanty dot. There's a function. The function name is sum or subtraction. I'm passing sum. Guys, here I'm passing 100 and 200. Now, guys, I'm calling one more thing like chanty dot subtraction. And guys, let me pass 45 comma. Let's take something 10. Right? This is how a Python file used by another Python file, guys. This is what we can see. 10, 20, and you can see 10. And you are running the Yahoo file now. You're running the Yahoo file. Guys, this is the one way to import. This is one way to import. There's another approach is there that I'll show you. Let me make this as comment. Let me make this as comment. And this process we call it as, guys. This process we call it as just guys, wait a moment. How to check? Yeah, okay, guys. So this is we call it as, guys, normal input. In normal input, guys, this is how to use another model. But there is another importing mechanism is there. That is what, guys, the from import. From import. I'll tell you guys how to use the from import. In the from import, you can specify, guys, from which module name, and guys, you can specify like what are the members you're supposed to use it. So I observed that I want to use only the two. Guys, in the first syntax, if you write import space chanty, in chanty, how many data is there? How many functions will be there? That many used by this approach, guys, normal function, normal import. But observe that I want to use specific, like a comma sum I want to use, or like a comma b only I want to use, or I want to use sum and subtraction only. Like that, guys, in from import, you can specify them. Okay, from space your module name, and import, and you can specify your members. Now guys, in this scenario, you can access directly, guys. You can access directly, like print of A, you can access directly in from import, directly you can access the A, and guys, print of directly, sorry, directly you can call the sum function also, like sum of, let me pass guys something, 10 comma 20 I'm passing. So this is a different normal import and from import. This is a difference between normal import and from import. I hope this is also clear to you all. Confirm guys in the chat. Are you clear the difference between normal import and from import? Yes. Now one question I will ask you. Now you created one Python file, no? In that you return two data and two functions. Now you are using the two data and two functions into any other Python file by using a concept called normal import and a from import. Now guys, tell me, do we have security for this data and functions? Security is nothing but I want to restrict, like other Python files. I don't want to make access directly. I don't want to make access directly. Do we have feasibility here? Do we have the feasibility? Guys, first tell me this answer. I'll answer your questions later. First, tell me this answer. Do we have the security for this data and functions? No. It means other Python files directly can access it. By writing a normal import or a from import, directly we can access. So guys, this is what the drawback with the functional programming. See, in the functional programming, we have a flexibility like reusing the code and make modularity, but the security is missing. So to achieve the guys security, there is a OOPS programming is came into the picture. So in OOPS, the benefit is same code, what you return data function, that you have to write inside a concept called class. Inside a concept called class. That is, we call it as encapsulation. This process we call it encapsulation. So writing data functions, writing same data and same function inside a block called class. And if you write something inside the class, guys, now a security will become. It means outside the, if you want to access this data and function, if you write inside the class, directly we can't make access to anybody. Directly we can't make access to anybody. So then how do I access? Then definitely guys, there are some other approaches will be there to access, like by creating the objects you have to access. So this is the fundamental concept that you have to understand why OOPS is came into the picture. Now I'll show a sample example. You can see now I'm opening a class. Now I'm opening a class. The class name is, let me take it as guys something, Calci. I have taken a class. The class name is, calculator. And guys, there I'm writing this data. There I'm writing this data, you can see. And some changes will be there. This is not the complete code, but some changes will be there. The changes I'll tell you later. But this is guys how to write same data and same function inside the class. Now guys, if you write this is inside the block, now it will become a concept called encapsulation. I hope guys this is clear to you all, the basic idea, like the difference between functional programming and object-oriented programming. I'm not yet started the coding part, but this is the basic understanding you have to know it first of all. Are you clear this difference? Now I'm about to write the code. Are you clear this basic difference? Confirm guys in the chat. No, not the only one security. Just this is a basic, the use I have given. There are reusing the concepts will be there that I'll show you. But this is a basic fundamental why the object-oriented programming came into the picture. Got it? Without guys the functional object-oriented programming, there is no security. There is no security. But with object-oriented programming, guys, we have a security. We have a security. Okay. once explain the class and function. Okay. Okay, guys. One more time, I was trying to concluding you. So please have a look. I think this is clear to you all. Yes. First, tell me, this is clear to you all. And is this clear to you all? And how a Python file used by another Python file? Tell me. Okay. It means clearly I'm telling you that one Python file can use it by any other Python file. That's what data sharing is possible between the Python file that we called as modules. And the modules, and another topic is like packages that are all both are under the topic called packages. That anyhow at the end of the session I'll try to explain you that is. But this is a kind of guys module usage. And here one thing is missing, that a security is not available for the data and functions. A security is not available. If you write data and function like this, any other Python file can access it. But if you write them inside the class like this, if you write the code inside the class, a class is a concept from the encapsulation. I'll tell you what is encapsulation. Now I've written a class, the class name is something calculator. Guys, there we have some techniques to write. So I'm writing something, a comma b is equal to, 10 comma, what you call it as 20. And we'll write the same function, but guys, we use some, what you call it as some extra keywords. And this is the first time, that's very difficult to understand. The self comma, n1 comma, n2, you can write it. And there guys, you can write some logic. Like I'm writing, guys, n1 plus n2 I have written. So guys, now, what you do is in Yakub file, in Yakub Python file, you can't access the sum directly. My point is, guys, in Yakub, you can access the sum which is defined inside the class called calculator, but you can't access directly. So then how do we access that is? Then you have to create an object for this class and then you can access. It means there is no direct accessing. There is no direct accessing. With the help of concept something, access modifiers, and there are a lot of things will be there. But this is a basic concept for you to understand why the oopsies came into the picture. Now, is that clear? Now, is that clear? Can I go to the continuation? Okay, fine. Yeah, guys, before moving to this all, first you have to know what is class and object. Okay, what is class and object? I'll tell you first. Then after that, guys, I'll go into the OOPS concepts. They are very simple. But first of all, you have to know what is a class and object. And let me ask one question to you guys now. I don't do it because the beginning of the session, like we are facing the same issue. But just a question, just answer me in the chat. Just it is a question, just answer me in the chat. Okay, the question is, now if I give this mouse control to you, everyone, listen the question. And if I ask you to draw a flower on this paint, listen the question. Can you draw a flower on the paint? Just tell me yes or no in the chat. I won't give the control. I'm not asking you to draw now. Just tell me yes or no. Will you draw a flower on this paint? Just say yes or no. Guys, I need almost like more than 50 answer. I need it. Okay, everybody saying the answer yes, 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 yes. Oh, strange. No one will asking, not sure. Somebody said. Okay. Guys, I don't know whether you listen this question or not. I'll repeating the question again. Will you draw a flower or not? Actually, you have to me ask one more question. It's highly impossible, guys, to draw a flower. No, even if I give access, there is no chance, there is no possibility. None of the guy in the world can draw the flower. If I ask you the question, can you draw a rose flower? Then you have to say yes. Are you clear? The questions first. Can you draw a flower and can you draw a rose flower? How a flower can visible? Flower no one can see. Whereas rose, yes, everybody see, everybody touch it. Now you got the difference, right? What is a rose and what is a flower? Can you confirm first this one? Acha, I'll ask you one more question now. Can you draw a fruit here? Yeah, now tell me guys. Huh? Can you draw a fruit here? No. Highly impossible, right? Yes, exactly. You have to master which fruit. Yes, exactly. That is, guys, actually the object. Now you're asking me one question of which fruit. That is what the object. Now the fruit is a class. Mango is an object. No, mango is an object. I hope you got the difference between what is class and what is object. Flower is a class. Okay. Whereas the object is nothing but, guys, the rose, a lily, the jasmine, all are the object. Does that make sense? First, what is class and what is object? Yes. Fine. Then, guys, we'll move into the coding part. Then easily you can understand. Now, this is just dummy example, but let me map into the coding part. Let's map into the coding part. Okay. Let's take one example, guys. Let's take an example, guys. The real-time example. Let me take you. Paytm is there, right? Paytm is a one application that we know, and we are all the customers for the Paytm application. We are all the customers for the Paytm application. We means we are physically existing in the world, and we are the objects. We are the objects that we are using a Paytm class. We are using a Paytm class. I hope this is clear to you all, guys. A Paytm example. Paytm application is written by using some classes, and we are the objects that we are using the Paytm application. And guys, one more example also I can give you. This calculator is there, no? This calculator. The calculator is in one application and is written by using a class. And now we are using we are using that is we are objects, guys. We people are the objects, the one who are using this one. And see, if you want to use this a calculator application, please observe these terms. If you want to use this calculator application, you have to give the values like this 10, then plus, and then 20. You have to give it. It means who giving these values? Class or object? Tell me this scenario. Who giving these values? Class is giving now or object is giving the values now? Tell me. Object, myself. I am giving the values. I'm the object of this class, the calculator class, and I am giving the values. Guys, if we giving the values to the a class, sir, how do we give the values to the class? How do we give the values to the class? Okay, I am the object. Now I want to give the values to the class. How do we give it? Yeah, for that purpose, they prepare one function called, guys, the function name is init. There is a function we call it as init. Guys, if you have a other programming knowledge skill like Java or .NET, you can consume this topic as a constructor. Okay, init is a function, but generally we call it as a constructor. So in between the class and object, there's a concept called constructor. What it will do is it construct the object by giving the values like this. Anyhow, guys, this all the things I'll show you programmatically now, but this is a fundamental knowledge. You have to understand what is class and object. Guys, one more thing I'll show you. You given me just now. A flower is a class. Okay, and guys, rose is an object. Rose is an object, and let's take as one more thing. Jasmine is also one more object. Okay, this is a class. Let me write it on the top. This is a class, and guys, this is the objects. These are the objects. Now, guys, if you observe the flower, if you take any class, guys, two things you have to describe. If you take any class, guys, in the world, two things you have to describe. One is its attributes, and plus, guys, its behaviors. It's a behaviors, attributes and behavior. Guys, all objects, attributes and behavior you have to describe inside the class. I'm repeating you, all objects, nothing but all flower objects like rose, jasmine, lily. For all objects, you have to define attributes and behaviors inside the class. Inside the class. How, guys? And I'll explain you here. You can see. How I'll explain you can see attributes and behavior. If the flower is a class, guys, all flower has a color. All flowers has a color. right? I think this is clear to you all. All flowers has a color. And guys, all flowers, you know, have a weight, right? Okay. And guys, let you can take like this a lot, like that. You can take it a lot, like a color, weight, and the season, like in which season they will come, in which season, sprint or summer or like winter, in which season they will come, the flowers, right? And guys, the behaviors are nothing but, what purpose you use these objects? What purpose? Like, what is the purpose of use it? Yeah, definitely we can use this is for, you know, decorations. We use for not for only decorations, not for only decoration, for garlands, for garlands, and like you know, preparing the perfumes. Perfume, for perfume people we use it, guys. This behaviors generally we call it as functions, that is we call it as methods. As per OOPS terminology, we have to call them as methods, guys. We have to call them as methods. So far you learn functions in a functional programming, you know, but in from the OOPS concept onward, you are not supposed to use the word functions. You have to use the word methods. I'll tell you the basic difference between function and method. The only one difference is that the only difference, there is no much differences, but you have to call them as methods. You have to call them as methods. So guys, this is what, how to prepare a class diagram. How to prepare a class diagram. This is what, guys, how to prepare a class diagram. So every class diagram has a 3 blocks. The first block, guys, consists the class name, and the second block consists, guys, you have to describe all the attributes for all the objects, and the third block, guys, you have to describe behaviors for all the objects. Yeah, guys, this is the behaviors and attributes. Guys, are you clear what is concept called attributes and behaviors first by this example? Confirm all? Yeah, okay then. So in the same diagram, I'll show you something you can see. A application point of also I'll show you. This is a class, and guys, these are the two other objects. This is object 1, and guys, this is a object 2. Right. Okay. I hope this is clear to you all. I think what is attributes and behaviors. Now, guys, you know, similarly, let me write the coding for another real-time application called Calci. Guys, just observe. This is your calculator. Calculator is one application. Calculator is one application. So now this time, you know, you have to take, guys, calculator is in a class. Calculator is in a class, and now definitely you have to describe the two things, as I told you, attributes and behavior. Guys, one thing, tell me, if I open this, just wait a moment. If I do 10 plus 20 plus 30, and if you click on enter, just tell me it's a kind of like a addition of 3 numbers, or it's a program for addition of 2 numbers. Acha, tell me first, this is addition of 2 numbers or addition of 3 numbers. This is okay. We know it's addition of 3 numbers, but you know, guys, how the calculation will happen. Even guys, if you do like plus 40, okay, and guys, even if you do, guys, plus 50. Okay, and guys, if you do like minus some 60, okay, and guys, even if you do something, you know, multiply some 9. Now if you click on enter, you know, every time only 2 operands will be evaluated. Now first 10 plus 20 will be done, then for that one 30 will be added, then for that one 40, then 50. For the whole result, subtraction is happening. For the whole result, guys, the multiplication is happening. It means every time 2 operands can be evaluated. Okay, and guys, you can check this final output now. This is the final output. It means that to perform any calculation, guys, only 2 operands are required. So the only 2 attributes are required. That is a num1 comma num2 are the 2 attributes. num1 comma num2 are the only the two attributes. Num1, num2 comma num2 are the only the two attributes. Guys, these are the two other attributes. Now the behaviors are nothing but, behaviors are nothing but you can do addition, you can do guys subtraction, you can do subtraction, and you can, you can do guys multiplication. It can do multiplication, and you can do division, and you can calculate guys, something, power like one number, two number, like you can calculate power. Let's ignore guys, but you can remember them. Yes, you can remember them. Almost I'll give try to give the same colors to you guys. You can focus clearly. That two are the attributes, and guys, these three are the function. I told you guys the functions we call it as methods. And guys, this is your class name. Now objects are nothing but like myself. I am the object one. Let me take the example, guys. Let me take the right side example. This is the application. This is the application. And guys, this is my object one, and let me take one more object. Observe, Chanti, he was in one object. Now he want to use the application. Let's take one more person, something, Yakub, he is a one more person. See, if the Chanti want to use a calculator application, or the Yakub want to use application, in the previous scenario, I explained you, if you want to use this application, the calculator, you have to give the values. You have to give the values for num1 and num2, definitely. Yeah, guys, you can see now, Chanti want to test addition, subtraction, multiplication, division for a numbers, guys, something like 10 and 20. Now the Yaku want to test the same application guy by passing 100 and 200. Guys, if you are okay with this, the right side diagram, then the OOPS concept will simple to you to understand. Are you clear? What is class, what is object, and what is attributes, and what is behavior? Confirm, guys, everybody. Guys, confirm in the chat. Are you clear? What is class, and what is object, what is attributes, and what is behaviors? Okay, then guys, I'm about to writing the code. Now I'm about to writing the code. The first program in the OOPS I'm writing. Guys, the process, nothing. What is the process here is, observe guys, writing data. This is data, we call it as writing data, and guys, writing methods. Observe, we have to call them methods. Writing data and methods inside a class. Inside a class. Objects are always outside, you can see, guys. Okay, writing data and methods inside the class. This concept, guys, we have to call it as encapsulation. Encapsulation is the first OOPS behavior, first OOPS feature. What encapsulation will do is, encapsulation will bind data and methods inside a block called class. Inside a block called, guys, class. Now I'll write the first program. You can see, guys, I'm about to writing the first program. You can see now. Now I'm creating one more, what I call it as a directory with the name is OOPS. There, guys, I was writing the first application today. Okay, you can see how I'm writing the first code. Guys, first you have to prepare a class. A class is prepared by in Python guy using a keyword called class. And class name, you have to write the class name like this, calculator. Now, guys, after writing the class, sir, what we have to write? Yeah, you have to write, guys, the data. The data is nothing but num1 and num2. So I told you guys, if you create an object, definitely you have to give the values. When you are creating the object, definitely you have to give the values 10 and 20. Now this 10 is assigned to num1, and the 20 is, guys, initialized to num2. Observe the term. 10 is initialized to num1 and 20 is initialized to num2 for the Chanti object. And for the Yakub object, 100 is initialized to num1 and 200 is initialized to num2. And I'm using one common word, maybe you focusing or not, initialization. To initialization, guys, there is a special function they already given in the Python inside the class. The special function name is, guys, init. The special function name is, guys, init. Okay, now I'm preparing the function def space init. Guys, here you can see some keyword called self, and don't much think about the self. Self is nothing but here this object, we call it as a self here. Now self is nothing but the current object. I'm repeating you, self is nothing but the current object. 1 second, guys, you can see self will talk about the current object. So the self is nothing but, in this case, Chanti. Okay, and guys, this self is nothing but, now this will become the Yakub. Self is nothing but current object. I'm repeating you, self is nothing but current object. I'll go in the programming part much better, you can understand. Now init is a special function. It always has a first argument as self, and comma, guys, you can give your respective values like num1 comma num2, num1 comma num2. And inside this function, guys, you have to write self dot num1 is equal to num1. Don't get confused, I'll explain you this code from the scratch again. Okay, num1, and guys, here you have to write the num2. Guys, this is what a special function you have to write always to initialize the data. To initialize the data, right? Your data preparation is done as per the diagram. Now it's a time to prepare the methods. Now it's a time to preparing the methods. Now, guys, I'm preparing the methods. You can see def space. The first function name is addition, and guys, here also we have an argument self. Don't get confused. What is self? Now, guys, you know, here I'm printing self dot num1 and plus, guys, you know, I'm writing the self dot num2. This is the first function behavior I have written, addition. Let me prepare, guys, one more function. The function is subtraction. Let me do subtraction here, guys. Like that you can prepare a lot, but I'm preparing only the 2 functions. Okay, later you may prepare all. Guys, this is what preparing the application, and I'm sure the 70% you are clear with this code. Maybe with the self keyword, like maybe you are getting confused. With the init keyword, maybe you are getting confused, init function. But I think 70% of code maybe you can reach it. This is, guys, how to prepare a class. This is, guys, how to prepare a class. So preparation of class. And guys, I told you it's just 70% only. I know that you can't understand, you are not sure about 100%. Sir, when you will get the 100% knowledge in this program? Yeah, my next topics are like what is init block and what is a self keyword. That everything I'll discuss you, so don't worry. So, guys, on the top I have written the comment that is the preparation of the class. Now, guys, I'm writing preparation of the objects. Sir, how many objects you have to create? That's based on your application. How many people you are using this application? That many objects you have to create it. Now, guys, as per the diagram, I taken 2 objects now. Now let me take myself. I am the object now. I am the object 1 now. Okay, I am the object now. So I'm taking the object name as, you know, object 1. Guys, you can write any name here. You have to think that object is nothing but, okay, Chanti, he's a one object. And right side, guys, you have to write the class name. You have to write the class name, and inside the parenthesis, guys, you can pass your values. Which values you want to work, this object, which values you want to work, that objects you have to give it. And then final step, guys, you can call all the methods like object 1 dot addition, and guys, I'm calling object 1 dot, you know, subtraction. You can call them like this. Guys, this is the first object preparation and calling. Suppose you want to test your application by another object, you can create another object like this, guys. Object 2 is equal to calculator, like 100 and 200 I'm passing, and through object 2, guys, I'm calling addition, and I'm calling what you call it as subtraction. Now, guys, observe, maybe you noticed or not this program. Now for this class, inside the class you return, okay, and you are not accessing this addition directly. That you have to keep it in mind. This addition subtraction you are not accessing directly. You are creating object and you are accessing. You're creating object and you are accessing. Okay, direct accessing we are not giving to them. I hope, guys, this program is clear to you all. Confirm in the chat. Preparation of class, preparation of objects. Okay. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Maybe I can continue the rest of the topic in tomorrow's session. Actually, we have planned to complete this content, but seems to be some kind of disturbance or what. Like I can't cope up the thing. So maybe tomorrow we'll try to take like extra 1 hour and we'll try to complete it the rest of the content also. Guys, any queries so far? Now feel free to ask. Yeah, self nothing but it will talk about the current object. One second, maybe I can explain you how this flow will be work. Maybe we can understand few things little bit better. Just wait a moment.
Guys, you can unmute now and ask.
Wait a moment. Before you ask, guys, just wait a moment. I can explain in a better way how this code will get work. I was trying to highlighting few things, so please focus. Init is a special function for initialization. That is step 1 that you have to remember. And maybe you're focusing, this is the new. Guys, this is the data. And guys, these are the methods. The only difference between the function method is function is an independent block. Function is an independent block. I'll tell you why it is called as independent block. Guys, if you return a function like this, like def space my function, it's independent. I told you, it's a clearly an independent nothing but like without like any help we can access it directly, like class and object without help we can access it. That's it is called as function. And if the same function, guys, if you written inside the class, then it is called as a method. And the methods directly you can't access, by object you can access like this. That is a difference. That's the only one difference between the function class. Guys, 1 second, I'll show you guys how the code gets executed. Just to wait a moment. Yeah, on the bottom, this is the place that you are creating this object. And here, guys, one more object you're creating. And yeah, guys, this is your class anyhow. Just wait a moment. Let me make a box. Maybe you can understand the a block. So guys, when you write the class, this is a block gets created. This is a block. This is inside the class that you are writing something. You can see this is inside the class. This is the process we call it as encapsulation. And inside the encapsulation, what we are doing, please focus, guys, what you are doing. We are declaring the data inside the init function. And on the bottom, you can see these are the business methods, like addition, subtraction are the business method. Okay, guys, whenever you use the class keyword, this complete class will be loaded. This class will be loaded. When you create the object, okay, at the time of when you're creating the object, what's happening in the background. Let's observe carefully. I'm telling you guys what's going to be happening at background. When you create this object, like this, object name equal to calculator that 10, 20.
सर एक सेकेंड सर पूरा क्लास लिखना जरूरी है या फिर हम शॉर्ट फॉर्म यूज कर सकते हैं?
No. What will be the class name? The same thing you have to use it here. Okay.
Okay.
There is no shortcuts. Okay.
So shortcuts नहीं लिखने हैं, right? Coding में.
No. See how you written the class, the same name you have to use it here. Okay.
Okay.
And see, when you writing this one, what happened? That directly control goes to init block. Observe, how the code will execute it. When you're creating the object, control directly go to the init block, and this 10 and 20, this 10 and 20, you know, this 10 will be stored into the num1, and this 20 will be stored into the num2. Okay, this num1 and num2, and this num1 and num2, this num1 and num2 will be stored into, guys, self.num1 and self.out. Now the time to know what is self. Self is nothing but, observe guys, I'm making the same colors to you, please focus. Self is nothing but this object. Self is nothing but this object. And this is the first time you are using object one now. So self is nothing but object one dot num1 is equal to now 10. And self dot num2 is nothing but, again guys, object one dot num2 is equal to, like guys, that 20. Now self is nothing but the current object. Now guys, this is going to be happening when you creating this object. Now guys, the second step, you know what you're doing. Second step, you know what you're doing. You're calling the method. So when you're calling the method, from here, guys, the control go to method block like this. And like this, the methods gets executed, guys. Like this, the method gets executed. This is for object one. This is everything is happening with the object one. Now we create, just wait a moment. Now, when you create a second object, you know what will happening? When you create a second time object, again, guys, the control goes to like this only. Control goes to like this only. Now this time, you know, self is nothing but now it will become the object two. Object two. Now maybe you can ask.
Sir, I was asking कि जो आपने लिखा है NUM1 और NUM2,
Correct.
ये दोनों सर आपने भी बताया ना 10 और 20 का क्या वो है, आप फिर से बता सकते हैं?
Yes, this first 10, 20 will be assigned to this num1 and num2, and they are called as, they are called as, we know them, they are called as parameters, correct?
Yes, correct.
And here we can call it as them local variables. They're local to the init only. The local to init function only. The local to init function. But whenever you use a self.num1, guys, there's a lot of differences there. This num1 and this num1, the colors which I have written in what do you call it as?
Blue.
Yes, the blue color I have written, you know, that guys, that are the object variables. But this num1 and num2, they know they are local to init function only. They are local to init function, this num1 and num2. And the blue color self.num1, they are the object variables. And you know, you can write any name here, x comma y. Here this num1 and num2 in the parameters, you can write x comma y. If you write x comma y, you have to write here self.num1 is equal to x and self.num2 is equal to y. Like that, you have to write it. Got it?
Yes, sir, got it. Sir, compulsory के सिर्फ हम NUM लिख के 1 लिखें या फिर कुछ और भी लिख सकते हैं?
That's variable names. That's your wish and you have to declare. Okay.
Okay, मतलब it's our wish कि हमें कैसे लिखना है?
If your wish, you know, wait a moment. You have to follow the coding standards now. Definitely in the real time. Maybe you can write like this. First number.
Yes.
Okay. Second number.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
number 1. Okay.
Yes. NO भी लिख सकते सर, NO1.
You can see NO1, NO2 like that you are asking.
Yes.
See, you know, in real time, there is a coding guidelines will be there that we have to follow. If you write like this, no one can understand. I mean, all people may not aware with this, right? But if you write either like this or either like this, then everybody can understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, any other queries?
We have to follow the identifiers rules, then only it is.
Exactly. Identify rule that we have to follow. Correct.
Yeah, it is recommended, but it is not necessary.
Yes. But see, as per the coding guidelines, every developer has to follow them, right?
Yeah, agree, sir. Agree.
Right. Guys, I can read in the chat. Wait a moment. Okay. If we remove self keyword, then it will give the error. I told you, no, self is an object. Yeah, definitely we get the error. And self is not always will be used. Without self also we can prepare. That will be discussed in the next session. Yeah, it's not necessary. I told you, no. This is a special function for initialization. Okay, directly also we can initialize. That you can see in the next sessions. Okay.
सर इसको नहीं लगाए, अगर हम क्लास के अंदर ही num1 num2 ले लें तो कैसे?
Okay, so you are asking that without initialized init, correct?
यस सर,
वही पूछ रहे हैं ना?
यस सर।
See, there can be two possibilities will be there. Init function, especially they design like a constructor. Init function can be how to use it as it is, double underscore init, double underscore, like that you how to use it. See, I'll give you one more example. Not example, directly I will ask you guys. Guys, if I ask you your all names, will you give the same response, different response? Tell me this answer first.
सर डिफरेंट रिस्पॉन्ड ही होगा, सेम थोड़ा ना होगा.
Correct, right? And if I ask you what is your age, then definitely will give the different response. It means yourself, you are the objects, and your names, ages, gender, date of birth, everything will be individual to individual object, individual to individual object. But now if I ask you a question, who is your trainer now tell me what is the answer. Same answer, different answer. Who is your trainer?
Same.
Exactly, that is what, same value for all objects, correct? Same
Yes,
value for
correct.
all objects, correct? In that case, you need not to use the init, and directly you can declare like this, guys. Like trainer name is equal to Chanti. This is we call that actually static variables. Yeah, I told you, know, there's other topics will be there that you can discuss later. Now trainer name Chanti given, no, this trainer name is applicable for all objects. Now you want to check it, you can check it. Print off, you can check it, object one dot trainer name. I mean, it's a class variable, so directly you can access like this. Calculator dot trainer name, directly you can access like this. It is object, it is available for all the objects. Anyhow, guys, that is the next topic actually. That's not the doubt, that is the next topic, okay?